As you can see, there's no trains at the station today, but then I don't need one. I've got my own locomotive. In fact, it's just about the same size as a train. The Victory's Kingpin Tour. Now this bike is pretty big, as you can see. It's 2.6 metres long, has a wheelbase of over 1600 mils, and fully fueled, fully wet, it's probably about 360 kilograms. That's a pretty big bike. Now the Kingpin Tour, as its name suggests, is the touring version of the Kingpin. What you get from the standard model is basically the panniers on the back here, and the top box, and the windshield, and the little things down the side. Same price, $31,000. All you get is more baggage, less bling. That's the difference between the two. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. Now these massive valance guards front and rear, which are straight off a 1950s Cadillac. Big teardrop tank, swept back bars, like typical cruiser styling from front to back. And it really works for me, this bike. At first I didn't like it, but after riding it, I'm really starting to enjoy it. The riding position on this bike is actually brilliant for a cruiser. It's one of the best ones I've trialled in a long time. I'm 6'3", I normally struggle with these bikes. My knees are normally above the tank, my back gets sore, I can't sit properly. Not with the Kingpin Tour here. Nice neutral position. The boards are actually quite a bit further back, so my knees are up here, I can grip the tank. The seat's got heaps of support, particularly the pillion pad at the back here, and it just locks you in a nice, comfortable position. No need for the cruiser slouch. The other thing I really love about the Kingpin is its engine. It's an air oil cooled 50-degree V-twin, displacing 634 cc's or 100 cubic inches in the old money. And it's a really sweet motor. It's fuel injected, smooth, heaps of torque, lots of reasonable amount of power. It doesn't matter what gear you're in, you can pretty much lug it around off the bottom and it'll just keep pulling with no stuttering or coughing. It's really torquey and it's just a pillar of a motor. And of course, being a cruiser style bike, it's got typical cruiser running gear. We've got an 18-inch front and rear, single disc, 300mm on each, 4 pistons at the front, 2 at the back. The rake angle is about just over 32 degrees, so again it's typical cruiser fare. All in all, this bike is built for straight line riding. It will corner reasonably well because it's got some pretty good ground clearance as well, but push it and it's not going to handle like a sports bike. That's not what it was made for. This bike was made for big long trips, long twisted corners and straight roads, and at that, it's very good. Now being the tour package, this big screen actually does a good job of deflecting a lot of the elements away. Even for me, being a tall rider, the buffeting is minimal. The panniers work quite well. Access to the side panniers is a little bit restricted, but the top box is excellent. 84 litres of storage here, so enough for plenty of gear for the weekend ride. That said, it's lacking a couple of little touring extras that you find on many other bikes, such as a range indicator, fuel gauge for example. In fact, that's one of my little bugbears about the Victories on full stop, is the instrument cluster on the front here. It's still a little bit cheap, a little bit tacky. The speedo looks the part. It does have miles per hour as the main reading, but it does have kilometers underneath. All in all, that part of the bike could be better. The rest of it is up to scratch. $31,000 is still a lot of money for a bike in anyone's language, but you do get a lot of bike for your bucks. Touring's your thing, cruising, individual style. If you want something a bit different from the crowd, perhaps you should look at one of these for your cruising needs.